What's up guys, this is Lichtsang here. Today we will be looking at my Midrange Draven postban decklist that I played with in the regional qualifier in Lille. This is the Monday after the tournament. You can use the timestamps in the video description if you want to fast forward to either the decklist tournament report or the gameplay where I show this deck versus an Irelia. Yeah, so let's dive in. I'm still a bit exhausted. Those regional qualifier weekends are always quite exhausting, just being concentrated over 3 days, but it's also obviously a great experience. I can recommend it to everyone who is interested in competitive Riftbound. Alright, let's look at the deck list that I played. So after the bans, I was like, damn, okay, what should I play with in Lille? Because as you might know, if you have seen a few of my videos, I was mainly a Miracle player. So I played Jinx Miracle and then switched to Seaver Miracle and then Draven Miracle. Obviously, those decks are not really viable anymore. So a few weeks ago, after the bans, I switched to Midrange Draven because I just thought it might be a good pick for the tournament. Everyone was like, oh damn, Draven is weakened so much. Spoiler alert, he wasn't. But the strength of the different legends has been leveled with Azir and Marci in the finals. But Draven still had a really good conversion rate from day 1 to day 2. So I still think it was a good pick. Maybe not the exact version that I played. So my thoughts after the bans were that Irelia might be the best deck in the meta and that I wanted to prepare the decklist in a way that gives me an edge in this matchup. So we play Draven Showboat as our champion unit. The version of Draven that I'm playing is kind of like a tempo version, so we play sneaky deckhands, a lot of 2-drops, so we should usually be able to score to at least 4 points quite quickly. So Draven Showboat is at least 7 might when we play it usually, so he's safe from a card like Falling Star, and even an Irelia usually has to invest a little bit of energy before she can charm him in to kill him. And if he doesn't get charmed, he can be a threat to Irelia. I don't think we need to talk about the Draven Legend. It's probably maybe the best legend in the game, but at least amongst the best ones, especially in those colors. Then we play, as I said, we play 9 2-drops Treasure Hunter, Overzealous Fan, Tide Turner. Usually Treasure Hunter is the best 2-drop for our turn 1 in my opinion. Then on turn 2 we've got Sneaky Deckhand or Kai'Sa if we go first, or as another turn 1 play Sneaky Deckhand if we go second. Our turn 3 play ideally is a Ferris Forerunner or Darius against decks that don't have easy access to your base. So if you can play Darius safe to your base without immediately readying him, that's a good play because then you can go in with Darius, play 2 cards, and then pull him back to base where he's safe. Brynn here is a really important card against Irelia, so she's one of our key components in the Irelia matchup. Also, Ferris Forerunner single-handedly wins you games against Spellslinger decks like Victor, Kai'Sa or Lux, and he's also really good against decks like Irelia who have access to your base with Charm, because you still have 2 more units even if they charm a Ferris Forerunner in. Spells, we play Stack Tech to find the components that we need in our matches, but it's especially important to find our Brynn here more consistently in the Irelia matchup. Then we play Ride the Wind. It's still a great card. You can turn 2, Ride the Wind your Treasure Hunter in to score both points and get 3 gold in the process, and your Treasure Hunter is safe in base. One hard bargain against Kai'Sa and Irelia mainly, but it can be really surprising for a lot of decks if you have a hard bargain in your main deck. 3 Gust, not 100% sure looking back on the tournament now whether I still like this pick. It felt really great in the weeks before the tournament. You can just wreck your opponent. If you have Gust early, you just get such a tempo advantage, especially with this list that we are playing with Sneaky, with Targon's Peak as a battlefield. So Gust definitely won me a few games that were like, I think like 8-2 in the Draven Mirror, where our opponent just didn't really play the game before we won, because we Gust his early plays and then we rebuke his later units or Falling Star them, and that's just GG. But obviously Gust is not as good against Irea, and it's also, and that kind of, yeah, prevented me from getting my regional qualification in the end, is not as good against the Draven lists who don't even run that many 2-drops. Yeah, and then it's just a dead card that could be something like a Noxus Hopeful or Piercing Light that would maybe win you the game in the mirror. 3 Rebuke you can run 2, but for me this was the essential component in combination with Bryn here to win consistently against Irea, which worked out, as you will hear in my short tournament report after the decklist discussion. Spinning Axe, obviously a great card, cascading in the late game, or, you know, having something like going second. Target's Peak is the going second battlefield. You play a Sneaky every second game statistically, re-ready 2 runes, and you have a Spinning Axe as a backup. That's, yeah, pretty hard to beat as a start. Our game 1 battlefield is Zone Warrens. We just play so many cards that can be dead in the late game, so Zone Warrens should be more beneficial for you than for your opponent, and you are also pretty good at conquering a lot in the early and mid game, so usually you will use it more than your opponent does. And then Arena's Greatest is our going first battlefield, just with the Sneakies and Gust and all those 2-drops. You are usually better in racing than your opponent, also with the 3 rebukes and so on. We play a 6-6 split. Most of our plays involve red Fury runes, but with 3 rebuke, we really need those 6 Chaos runes. And the runes felt perfect this way. In the sideboard, we play our 3rd Bryn here for the Irea matchup mainly. I usually don't use it in other matchups. 2 Pouty Poros against Kai'Sa, Victor, and Lux. And sometimes I take in, if I go first after sideboarding, I take in Pouty as our 10th 2-drop, just because it's so important with this version that you hit your turn 1 play. Switcheroo against Irea and some other decks like Aurora, maybe even the Mirror. Hard bargain against the Spellslinger decks, mainly also against Irea if you feel like it. Flash is great in the mirror match against other Dravens and against Irea as well. And Cleave is also kind of good against Irea. It gives you another option besides Bryn here and Rebuke to get some might to win a few fights against Irea, and also can be quite surprising if you have 1 energy up in your opponent's turn, they charm in one of your units and you cleave it. Alright, so that's the deck list. As I said, the game plan against Irea would be scoring to 6 as fast as possible, and then Bryn here Rebuke with at least 2 units in base for game. And yeah, as you will hear now, and as you can see in the gameplay video after this rambling part of mine, that works well, and it works really consistently against Irea. So the event was great. We had an amazing Airbnb with a few friends in Lille. My matchups on day 1, I started with my buy that I secured in a Summoner Skirmish. I started off against an Irea. We had a really intense match, was really close, but I was able to win it with the before mentioned Bryn here Rebuke combo. Then I played against a Lucian. That was actually quite scary because he had his combo both games. I think once even with, like the full combo with 2 Trinity and a Skyfall. And he also had Pursuit, so he would have been able to score to 6 points in 1 turn. He was at 2 points, but luckily I had a Rebuke in hand to prevent him from doing that, and he didn't have enough energy to use the Camel, I think. So then we played against another Irea that was also really close, but I was able to win this one. And then I lost the game against a set. Felt rough. I feel like I should have won this match, but I hadn't played against Set for months. So I think my last match against the Set was maybe like Set 1 or like early Set 2. So I definitely misplayed somewhere in this match. I don't really know exactly where, but it felt really winnable. And then I was 4-1. Then I played against an Aurora Volibear player who actually managed to ramp into Aurora in 3 out of 3 games, which was really rough. But this version should be really good against Aurora with Sneaky Deckhand and Ride the Wind and Irina's Greatest. But it ended up in a draw because he was able to drop so much might on the battlefield. He would have definitely won game 3, but we ended up in time before he was able to get ahead in points, just because my start was so fast compared to the Aurora game plan. Then we played against an Aurora MF. The Volibear had the high roll and the Misfortune player had the low roll. I felt really sorry for him because he was on his metal card quest and he was a really nice guy. We chatted a lot about psychology after the match. A great guy, but yeah, he low rolled. He didn't hit his Aurora, so that was a pretty easy win for me. And then the final round was a crazy game against a really good Rek'Sai player. We were both on the bubble, so either we win and secure day 2 or we lose and we are out for the main event. Game 1, he hit me with 3 Calderweek and 2 Falling Star, removed basically all of my units, but I wasn't ready to give up on my main event journey yet, and I came back after those 5 insane removal spells against this deck, and I think I just had a good like sequence of, I don't know, like Kai'Sa, Ferris Forerunner. He was at 7 points, but I was able to prevent him from finishing the game for several turns in a row, and then we had a crazy last turn where he had, I think, 30 might in his base with an Under Titan and like, I don't know, like 7 units or something. But I had 10 energy up in his turn, and I had, I think, 2 Rebuke, 2 Gust, and a Ride the Wind. So I was able to defend one of my battlefields to hold to the 8th point with Kai'Sa alone in the right battlefield and Fan Tide Turner and a hidden Tide Turner in the left battlefield, because I was able to take out, I think, yeah, with the 2 Rebukes and the 2 Gusts. The Gust came on the recruits with 3 might. I was able to take out 4 of his, I think, 6 or 7 units that he had, and then use Ride the Wind on the Fan to push back his 5th big unit. Yeah, and was able to secure this win, and game 2 was easier because he was quite unlucky with his Rek'Sai Conqueror triggers. Day 2, I got a bit punished from my matchup luck. I played against an Irea. Game 1, a missed 2-drop. He went first, and that was an easy win for my opponent. Then I played against another Irea, missed my 2-drop again, but I was able to secure the victory. It was really close. He played really well. Then I easily won against another Draven who was, yeah, a bit unlucky. And then I lost to 2 Dravens in a row, which showed that this version is really good against Irea, I feel like. But if you don't miss your 2-drop, but it's not as good as I would have hoped for in the mirror match. So I think in total I won 3 out of 4 Irelia matches, and I lost 2 out of 3 Draven matches. So the 3 Dravens on day 2 ended my main event journey, but I still had a really good time. I think I finished, I don't know, like 150th out of 2000 or something like that. But now I'm really motivated to keep going for Utrecht. I got a ticket for Utrecht and I will definitely play there. All right, now enough talking. I hope you enjoy the following gameplay video where I play with this deck against an Irea. All right, we will dive into a gameplay against an Irea on TCG Arena. Reveal, roll dice. Here's a 10, so we'll go first. Let's see what we can get. We definitely want the Rebuke, and we need a 2-drop. Alright, nice. Found the 2-drop, and we found the Bryn here, so we've got our finisher against Irelia. Let's see whether he has a turn 1 play. Oh, sneaky, interesting. Okay, sneaky into Targons, that's pretty good. Score 2-1, discard one of the stack decks to draw one. Alright, that's pretty good. Stack deck. We want the fan. And this will go to base past him. The reason for that is if he has, I don't know, let's say like Boots of Swiftness goes over there or charms the fan in, he could easily kill both our units. I mean, if he has charm, he can still kill both units, I guess. But even without charm, he could re-ready the unit with something like an On Guard or Discipline and go back in. Pretty good start from our opponent against us. We'll go in here. Score 2-2. Tap all. Ready to pass to him. If he has Rebuke, we are definitely in trouble. But I feel like we want to defend this. We have 8 versus 4. No fan. Yes, Defiant Dance. So it's 6 versus 6. Let's see whether he wants to invest more combat spells here. All right, that's pretty good for us. Because he has to restart with a new unit, and it looks like he doesn't have another combat spell. Herder, alright. Okay, so the herder would be safe from falling stuff. He has an On Guard or another Defiant Dance. But I feel like he would have maybe used that in the last combat. It's just really good if this goes through. Yes, alright. That's obviously pretty good. Let's go in here. Discard Darius to draw on. Go in here. Go to 4. Play Fan 2. 2 base and pass. We still have our finisher in hand. If we can score to 6 next turn. But we need 8 energy to do that. Alright, he's just preparing. That's great for us. Yeah, so we go back next turn. We have enough energy for our finishing combo. And now we just need to have enough units in base. Pass to him. And now, even if he has 3 charm, we still win the game. Alright, so without the finisher this could be a bit of a difficult spot, but with it this should be GG. Sneaky attempt from our opponent. GG, we go in. score to 8. I hope you liked this video. Leave a like, leave a subscription if you liked the video. That really motivates me to keep going with this YouTube channel. I hope you have a great day. See you next time.